Hi guys, welcome back, and hello if you're new. After 2016's Frozen Odyssey that was Arctis, Ihsahn returns with Armor. Armor may well be the most comprehensive Ihsahn release to date. There are elements of Das Seelenbrechen, Eremita, Arctis, and After. Space is almost used as an instrument in the record. What I mean by this is that every single sound is calculated in a very particular puzzle to fit. For example, the electronics on Marble Soul, or the orchestra on Samur, those octave slides on One Last Enemy. In Rites of Passage, the song almost seems somewhat disassembled. You can hear it really well in the verse of Arcana Imperi, where the guitars drop out somewhat, but the electronics are slowly pieced together. Despite the various experimentation put forward, the songs always contain extremely strong melodies. For example, One Less Enemy, whose chorus has this kind of descending arpeggio, individually picked. Where You Are Lost and I Belong has this very kind of doleful guitar line which will really stick in your head. Once again, going back to Arcana Imperi, the chorus is incredibly catchy and a really strong hook. And ironically, when I was talking about space, there's a lot of space on the record, but it also feels incredibly confined, which I think is a really interesting paradox. And again, you know, creating this puzzle is an element of subtlety, which has always been Ihsahn's strong suit. In Rites of Passage, the electronics slowly but surely integrate into that verse riff with the guitar. And in particular, Marble Soul's verse section really makes it stand out as one of those incredibly experimental but also very melodic moments on the album. The album has also got some incredible choruses, for example, Wake, Marble Soul, and a personal favourite of mine, Twin Black Angels, which almost reminds me of a like Night Flight Orchestra style. It almost borders on power metal, some of it. The opening of Marble Soul has got this almost kind of chanting which mirrors the octave, so it's like ah, and it's a really simple hook, but it'll get really stuck in your head. And the chorus even reminded me somewhat of ABBA. You know, like that's such a compliment if you really think about it, that, you know, Ihsahn is able to create all of this experimentation, yet always retains that signature Ihsahn sound. And again, the intro of Twin Black Angels, it reminds me, I don't know if you guys have heard of this guy, but it reminds me a lot of Petar Dundov. Now, of course, Ihsahn is an incredibly established guitarist, and there are some absolutely fantastic riffs on this album. For example, in One Less Enemy, with that almost really quite chunky style riff. And again, there's some great grooves on In Rites of Passage. But the solos on this album are definitely one of the standout moments, for sure. You've got Arcana Imperi, where Ihsahn's solo is somewhat almost melancholic. But then you've got that amazing guest solo by Fredrik Åkesson. And again, on Twin Black Angels, there's an element which sounds almost a little bit John Petrucci. Also, it's worth mentioning that despite the harsh vocals being incredibly raspy and, you know, exactly what you would expect, they're not very intrusive in the record, which could be either down to the mix, but also I believe that it's Ihsahn's delivery. Again, like I mentioned, you know, this is a comprehensive look at all of Ihsahn's work to date. And there are some really interesting moments that reminded me of Das Seelenbrechen. For example, on Where You Are Lost and I Belong. And then also the introduction and the end of Arcana Imperi. In terms of the negatives, I really cannot find any with this album. It's absolutely phenomenal. In terms of the artwork, I think it's a perfect representation of the album. I also found out when I had an interview with Ihsahn that armor actually is a colour, so it's like a red rust, hence those little lights at the bottom. And it's got this weird sense of being somewhat inviting, but also quite sinister, I feel. So, Armor could well be the most comprehensive work of Ihsahn to date, experimenting with electronics and dissonance, yet all the while ensuring that strong melodies are present and that typical Ihsahn sound is always there. Each song is as interesting as it is diverse, and this is an absolute masterpiece. Therefore, I'm going to give it a 5 out of 5. You have to listen to this record. Ihsahn's brand new album is out May 4th, Star Wars Day, via Candlelight Records, and you can pick up a copy right here. So I hope you guys liked this video. Hit that like and subscribe button if you did. Make sure to check out my Apocalyptic Anniversary series over on Metal Sucks, and I will see you next week for another review. Alright, thanks for watching. Bye.